All right, come one, come all, because we have to talk about the New York Football Giants and how they have had a pretty good training camp practice once again. It was better than yesterday, a little bit more intense than yesterday, still operating in the red zone. And I'm going to let people come in. I'm going to let you watch your ads, and then we're going to get to it because today is July 24th, 2025. It's Talking Giants brought to you by SeatGeek, and it is yet another training camp recap. Just left East Rutherford, New Jersey, where it was another red zone day for the Giants, still in their ramp-up period. Now, I will say, yesterday was how do I want to put this? They were operating near the end zone yesterday. They kind of brought it back to starting at the 20 to 25 yard line today. And I'm going to tell you why I like that, especially when it comes to Russell Wilson. So the ramp up period continues. Brian Dable announced today that Sunday will be the first day with full pads. There is rain in the forecast, so hopefully that rain holds off, and there's thunderstorms that are projected to happen in the morning. And if it rains, then that means that we can't see it. And that would really freaking suck if we miss the first day of full pads. But tomorrow's going to be an intense practice because they have an off day on Saturday. They're back on Sunday. They're in full pads on Sunday. I want to start off with this first. Boom. Whether you're watching this live, which I appreciate you if you're watching this live, or if you're rewatching this, like and subscribe. Like, come on. Like, I haven't done the YouTube thing in a while. People know, hey, everybody knows the situation of, stuff, the dynamics and the stuff that, I may be going through in this channel. So we're out there. I think I'm doing a decent job at training camp. Like and subscribe, hit that freaking like button. Let's get this back up. Bam. Russell Wilson. Good day. I don't want to say really, really good day, because if it's a really good day, the ball isn't touching the ground, right? But I'm going to tell you firsthand why I really liked Russell Wilson's day. I can't keep track of the stats as I go on throughout the day, but he had way more attempts than he had yesterday. Think about 9 or 10 completions, and I know for a fact it's 3 touchdowns. Now, half of those completions and attempts yesterday went to Malik Nabers. Today, he spread the wealth out a little bit more. Malik Nabers, yes, he had a touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson had a touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson yesterday had a touchdown in 7-on-7. Today, he had a touchdown on 11-on-11. We're going to talk about that play, and I'm going to try and show it to a little bit too. I'm going to try and show some practice clips this stream. So hang on for that, and I'll get to chat questions at the end. And then Daniel Bellinger caught the third touchdown pass of the day. I didn't describe that to you in the correct order, in the time order of things that happened. But each of those 3 touchdowns, Daniel Bellinger was near the goal line, was close to the goal line. And I'll tell you what, I was hesitant yesterday to say that ball is coming out of Russell Wilson's hands different. Like, there's a zip on the ball. That touchdown to Daniel Bellinger, we'll watch it in the clip. The ball is thrown a little behind him, but because of the velocity that's put on the ball, it was different, and that's why that ball was able to be delivered for a touchdown. Cordell Flott was diving all of his feet, and he couldn't get a hand on the football. Daniel Bellinger caught that touchdown. The other 2, there was one to Nabers on the left sideline. I believe that may have been a play where, yes, this was a pump fake. Like, Russ gave like how you run like a stick and nod in Madden, and Eli did this in 2015 to Larry Donnell versus the Seahawks, where you give a little pump. Eli used to do it all the time, where give a little pump fake, you look one way, and then boom, you look another way. That was the touchdown to Malik Nabers today, where Russ gives a little pump fake, and he delivered that ball on the left sideline. Malik Nabers catches it just short of the goal line. He would have run in a real game situation for a touchdown as well. We'll get to the Wan'Dale Robinson touchdown when I actually show it. You have to see it to believe it for Wan'Dale Robinson. But the main thing that happened today is why I'm so encouraged by Russell Wilson from today's practice. They were operating red zone offense again, this time from, like I said at the start of the stream, from the 20 to 25 yard line. What Russell Wilson was doing is throwing the ball near the goal line when you're operating inside the red zone. And this is a Peyton Manning thing. If you watch Manningcast on Monday Night Football, like, you hear Peyton Manning, like, I hate when teams are by the end zone and they don't throw the ball towards or in the end zone. And hey, that's been a lot of the quarterbacks that we've had the last couple of years, especially, that guy number 8, who doesn't have a lot of touchdown passes in his career. You're not throwing the ball inside the end zone and not giving your guys any opportunity to make plays on the football. So I was pretty amazed at, like, the Giants are 10 yards, 15, 20 yards away from the end zone. And Russell Wilson is still pushing that ball to score. It's like, how the red zone offense is going to get better. Obviously there needs to be better execution, better quarterback play, better offensive line play. You got to be able to run the ball more inside the red zone. Like, all of these things are factors as to why the Giants don't have a good red zone offense, especially the last 2 years. But you also need a quarterback that to put the ball in the end zone by throwing it in the end zone. And it sounds simple, but it hasn't happened for us. And I was, again, amazed sitting back. We're 20 yards away. We are in the green zone. We're in the red zone, but we're 20 yards away, and Russ is giving his guys opportunities near, at, or in the end zone to put points up on the board. And it was awesome. He threw 1 interception today. He tried to force the issue on a 2-point play. So that's one of those things where, hey, you got to know the circumstance. You got to know the situation. Russell Wilson throwing an interception in a 2-point conversion, I don't really mind. I don't really care. But it has looked different where you watch Dart, and we'll get to talking about Jackson Dart, obviously. You watch Dart and some of these other quarterbacks that the Giants have had the last couple of years, and how many times you see they're running, they're scrambling, they're holding on to the ball. I haven't seen that a ton from Russell Wilson through the first 2 days. He's decisive. That's the word that I used yesterday. Or even if that ball is going to fall on the ground, or even if it's going to be intercepted, or whatever the case may be, he knows where to go with the football. He's decisive with the football. And I'm encouraged by what I've seen from Russell Wilson the last 2 days. Does he need to come in and be Mahomes? Does he need to come in and be the Russell Wilson that he was in 2020, 2019, and even around that time? No, but being better than what we've had the last couple of years is the expectation, and I think he's showing that so far, and I'm encouraged. Don't take me sitting here singing his praises as this guy's going to light the league on fucking fire. That's not the point, but I just like what I'm seeing through 2 days, and then you hear guys like Wan'Dale Robinson get really excited when they talk about Russell Wilson, and you can see through 2 days, Wan'Dale Robinson, 2 touchdown catches, 1 on 7 on 7. Today's 11 on 11. And it was using him vertically, not using him as a check down option, but using him vertically, like he was kind of used at the University of Kentucky. Malik Neighbors lights up when he talks about Russell Wilson. Correct, rightfully so. Malik Neighbors has a couple touchdowns, a shit ton of catches through the first 2 days. So that's Russell Wilson. That's Russell Wilson. Some good stuff through the first 2 days for Russell Wilson, especially today. Again, 3 touchdowns. 1 went to Daniel Bellinger on a ball that he fired in at around the 10-yard line. The ball was a little bit behind Daniel Bellinger. Cordell Flott was close to making a play on it, but because the velocity that Russell Wilson put on the ball, that's why it was able to be delivered. Wan'Dale Robinson got a slot fade that I still don't know how he came down with that ball. And Malik Neighbors caught a deep touchdown as well, where Russell Wilson even delivered a little bit of a pump fake. The second biggest story of today is Abdul Carter. And I came away from yesterday being like, damn, I didn't fully get the chance to watch Abdul Carter as much as I wanted to. And it's hard to keep track of who's on the field and who's not. And I think that's a good thing. Is Kayvon on the field? Burns is basically on the field all the time with the first team. But today was a day where you saw some alternating, and Kayvon will come off and Abdul Carter will come on. And what's nice is that I don't think Kayvon has taken any second-team reps, which just means that Kayvon is a starter, even if he is a pseudo-rotational player, right? We'll get more insight into rotations and stuff as camp goes on. But Carter, first things first, him against Marcus Bowe, not a fun matchup for Marcus Bowe. And I don't even want to make this about like negative Marcus Bowe. But Abdul Carter on that right side, Marcus Bowe right tackle. I think he would have had 1 or 2 sacks with that second team, and also some pressures as well. So Abdul Carter working as like a conventional edge rusher over Marcus Bowe. That was something that was happening today. But today was also a day where Abdul Carter, we saw the versatility start to come into play. There was one play where Abdul Carter was lined up as like a conventional interior defensive lineman, not in a 2-point stance, not in like a runner sprinter stance, as a stand-up rusher in the A or B gap. He was to the left of Brian Burns. Brian Burns was on the edge by the left tackle. And then just to the left of Brian Burns over the guard was Abdul Carter. Now, I think that was a play where he might have jumped offside, so we didn't get a chance to see what happened. But that's cool. I like putting Abdul Carter. I want Abdul Carter lined up on the inside. I don't know how much I expect his hand to be in the dirt, because I kind of want him to be a stand-up rusher to use his lateral movement. But hell, you can even do that with your hand in the dirt too. So I like the versatility of Abdul Carter, something that we know that we're going to see this year. And there was another play where, and this is the significant one, and maybe I'll start. I'm going to find it. Maybe I'll start to show some clips here, because this is another one where you just have to see it to believe it. Abdul Carter just put John Michael Schmitz on his ass. And Jeff, I'm about to share the screen. If you just want to monitor the stream and make sure that it's okay as I do this, because hopefully we don't have any internet issues. But here it is. Watch JMS, the center, just absolutely just wind up on the ground. It's not going on the screen? Damn. Yeah, end it. Yeah, try it yourself. You tab? Oh, there it is. There we go. All right, mute it. All right, cool. All right, cool. Is it playing the? All right, cool. All right, sorry about that. But watch JMS, the center, just stumbles and then just winds up on the ground. You see Abdul Carter kind of creeping in there in a 2-point stance as like this off-ball linebacker. He blitzes, does a little swim move over JMS. Initially doesn't fully work, but redirects back to the quarterback, and then that's where JMS just is on skates and goes down on his ass. We'll show it one or two more times if you really want to see it. I know I've showed it a ton, but that was like one of the highlights of like, oh shit. That was pretty fun. So I don't think that would have been a sack. I think you maybe count that as a pressure or a hurry in a real game. There was another sack that I think Abdul Carter would have had against the first team today, where he did a nice swim move over Chris Manhertz. That would have been a sack that he had against the first team. So Abdul Carter performed with the first team and the second team. You saw the performance, you saw the flashes, and then you also saw some versatility stuff too, where he's lined up all over. He's lined up on the with the right tackle. He's lined up next to Brian Burns on the opposite side, and then you saw where he put JMS on his ass. He's lined up as this off-ball linebacker in the A gap before the play. He can either drop back into coverage, he can come in and blitz, he can do whatever the hell the Giants want, and he's a freak, and he's going to be a ton of fun to watch. So really excited about that. What do we want to go to next? Let me go to my notes. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you are enjoying it. Some roster stuff. How about that? Let's go through some roster stuff. Cordell Flott and Deonte Banks continue to rotate at CB2. And the way that it went this practice is the first team period, Cordell Flott was the outside corner. The next team period, the first team period today, Deonte Banks was with the first team. The next team period, that was 11 on 11, Cordell Flott. And they alternated every other. That's how it went. So that's basically been the rotation the first 2 days, and it has not changed. Cordell Flott got beat by Darius Slayton in a 1v1 rep today. Cordell Flott hasn't made any flashy plays. I don't know if he's allowed catches on the top of my head. Deonte Banks has allowed some catches, but also Deonte Banks has forced some incompletions, and Deonte Banks continues to put himself in a good spot to make a play on a football, but he just has to make a play on the football, and the case remains the same with him. Also, by the way, for chat, keep asking questions. I'll take a look at them as we get closer to the end of the stream, and then I'll also open it up too for some questions after that. So appreciate you watching. Nick Jones had a sack today as a slot corner. The summer of Nick Jones continues, and this is kind of, a little underrated secondary talking point of Drew Phillips is obviously the starting nickel corner, but there's no backup slot corner really. You can say that Cordell Flott is the backup slot corner because if you have your first two corners on the outside healthy and Banks and Adebo, then Flott can slide to the slot, and that is a spot that he's operated before, not with a ton of success because the Giants have tried the whole Cordell Flott at slot corner experience, and I think they've rested on that he's an outside corner. I don't think they're doing this flipping back and forth thing anymore. But Nick Jones again has another play today where it's an impact play. He came on a blitz from the slot from the nickel corner spot, got a sack, and he may make the team as a backup slot corner because that's something that the Giants may need. Trey Hawkins had an interception, and this is where we could talk about Jackson Dart. I was like, what other thing can I talk about that's the main storyline? Let's talk about Jackson Dart. So Jackson Dart had a really nice touchdown, and I will show it. I will find it right now. Jackson Dart had a really nice touchdown to Jalen Hyatt today in team period. And here it is. Pulling it up right now. Is it showing, Jeff? Yep. Yeah, so this was a really nice throw. He's going to take the snap. Immediate pressure coming off the right side. And you see he kind of goes off his back foot a little bit. Damn it. All right, great. So immediate pressure off that right side. See, Hyatt comes down. Nice little back shoulder. Gets open at that last second. Mute it. You got to playing the audio. I don't know why it's playing the audio. BC Dart, again, immediate pressure right side, back foot. There's Hyatt. CB has a hard time locating that ball in the air. Nice stuff. Nice stuff. And through the first 2 days, I think that's basically been what would you say is the biggest positive takeaway for Dart the first 2 days? Even though there was an interception to Trey Hawkins today, obviously there was the pick six to Nick Jones yesterday. I liked hearing after practice, wasn't able to talk about this yesterday, but I liked hearing after practice yesterday, Dart talking about, I knew that he was there. I just wanted to try and fit that ball in that window. And the windows get a lot tighter in the NFL, right? I liked hearing that. That's a lot better than him saying, yeah, I didn't see him and I gotta clean that up. I gotta make that better. That's what I want to see from Jackson Dart this camp. I want to see Jackson Dart experiment with the speed of the game with the NFL and not lose that confidence and moxie that I can put the ball where I want to put the football. So that was nice where, hey, Jalen Hyatt is covered when, if you freeze it, let's freeze the play when Dart releases the ball. Bam, right there. Fuck me. He's covered. Jalen Hyatt's primarily covered. But I'm going to give my guy an opportunity to make a play on the football. I have pressure in my face. I'm going to go off my back foot, not fully off the back foot, but kind of still stay balanced, deliver a nice ball to Jalen Hyatt. Nice job. That was early on in practice. The interception that he had to Trey Hawkins was similar to Nick Jones, except this was a lot deeper. I would say this was either 15 to 20 plus air yards where there was a guy that was open. Dart tries to fit the ball in a window. Trey Hawkins does a nice job of pouncing on the football. That window was not open wide enough for Jackson Dart to fit that ball there. So I'm not panicking because I don't have the greatest expectations for Jackson Dart if he sees the football field this year. But what I want Jackson Dart to do is I want him to develop. I want him to learn. I want him to make these, if he has to make mistakes, I want him to make these mistakes while not losing what makes him an enticing prospect right now, which is his big playability, his arm that's pretty damn good, his confidence, his moxie. That's part of his game, and that's part of what makes him him. I don't want him to lose that, and I'm not letting 2 days of 2 interceptions lose that kind of momentum for Dart. So what else? Talked about Nick Jones. Side note, Greg Dulcich to Jameis Winston. If you thought that you hear those two names together, Greg Dulcich has 3 touchdown catches in 2 days. He had 2 more touchdown catches from Jameis Winston today. That connection goes crazy. I forget what year Greg Dulcich was drafted in the first round, but if this were a couple years ago, there would be a fan base that would get really excited for that. Instead, they're doing it with the third string Giants. What a world we live in. What else, man? What else? Oh, let's show Twitter clips. Let's just go through the stuff that I have bookmarked. Let's just do that. So I'm gonna share screen, Twitter, and then we'll open it up to some questions because it's been a little bit. All right, cool. All right, let's go back. I'm ready. Bang. All right, so we're seeing it. Let's mute it. And now you can hear me too. So this was the Russell Wilson to Daniel Bellinger touchdown. As this is buffering, sorry about that. God damn it. Russell Wilson to Daniel Bellinger touchdown. I don't know if it's playing. I don't know if it's loading, but Rush drops back, decisive, boom. The ball's a little behind. You see Cordell Flott diving, but good stuff from Russ. Who else is out on that field? They're in 11, but Bellinger's kind of flanked out wide a little bit. Didn't have his hand in the dirt. Nice stuff. Good stuff. See James Hudson as the left tackle. Roy Robertson Harris continues to be interior defensive lineman number 2. The base defense, by the way, because they were running the ball a little early in practice, the base defense was Nacho, Roy Robertson Harris, Dexter Lawrence as the 3 interior defensive linemen. So you see that play to Daniel Bellinger. Boom. I already showed you the Hyatt. All right, let's talk about the Wan'Dale touchdown because this was crazy. This was crazy. I have no idea how Wan'Dale was able to come down with those. No clue. Celebrating. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Wan'Dale, fire me up. Fire me up. Go back to the start. See Russ looking one way at the start. I didn't even see that. He kind of looked off his safety. And Drew Phillips is right there. And it looked like Wan'Dale from like our perspective, because that's tough to see. That was really in the corner. It looks like there's no way that he's coming down with this ball. And it even looked like he may have bobbled it a little bit. But then he comes up, shows that he has the football. Officials go touchdown, and that is without a doubt the play of the day. Like I'm still watching this now, and I have no idea and no clue how Wan'Dale was able to come down with it. And it's encouraging that Wan'Dale is running vertically and not just getting these manufactured check down targets, because a similar line that I've used with Malik Neighbors is this offense and what we do with some of these receivers, especially Wan'Dale. It needs to be about quality instead of quantity this year. It's not just, all right, let's give Wan'Dale 90 catches and 7 yards per reception, which is awful. Let's get some better quality here, even if we aren't catching the ball 90 times. But how about 70 catches for 10 yards per reception? That's pretty damn good. That's a good season. 700 yards is a good season for a slot wide receiver, especially when you have a guy on a team like Malik Neighbors that's going to take up so much attention and so many yards. And Malik Neighbors is going to get freaking 1,500 yards this year. How about that? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We already showed that. This is the Russell Wilson to Malik Neighbors touchdown from Charlotte. Russell Wilson, Malik Neighbors. Let's see if we can see Russ, and let's see if I can get that pump fake. You can't see the pump fake. Oh, I even like that from a play design standpoint where you have Wan'Dale on the screen that's catching the attention of Drew Phillips, and then nice little hole in that zone. Nice little hole shot there. Love that. Bang. Malik Neighbors against Paulson Adebo 1v1. The 1v1s were pretty cool. And Adebo's Malik Neighbors has been cooking Paulson Adebo a little bit. They're going back and forth. Neighbors is just that good. This was during 1v1 today. Fun stuff. Jordan Ronan got a good angle of the Wan'Dale Robinson catch. Watch it again. Yes, dude, one-handed. Caught it one-handed. So this is similar where look at, you saw the Neighbors touchdown where he had Wan'Dale going in as a screen and kind of just pulling a corner down. Same thing here. Slayton kind of pulling a Debo down. That was just man coverage. And again, Rush just leads his receivers. He puts the ball in the end zone and see what happens. Thomas Fidone 1v1. Good note too. Really nice one-handed catch for Thomas Fidone. Really nice. And while this is playing, I'll talk about, so Fidone had that one-handed catch, 1v1s, and then Cam Scatterbu as well. Through the first 2 days, Cam Scatterbu's flashed some pretty nice receiving ability, and he's flashed some good hands. At the same time that this Fidone touchdown reception and catch happened, on the opposite side of the field, I was watching Cam Scatterbu, and it was Deontay Johnson who was draped over Cam Scatterbu, 1v1 halfback versus linebacker. Like, hey, we're running routes, you got to go cover. So there's such an advantage, especially for linebackers when they're going up against halfbacks and tight ends and shit like that. There's such an advantage that goes to running backs. But Deontay Johnson, actually pretty good coverage as Cam Scatterbu is working towards the back corner of the end zone, the left corner, left side of the end zone. That ball is kind of thrown late and is delivered late, but Scatterbu flashes late hands, and he is able to toe tap his way into the end zone, and it's a clean touchdown for Cam Scatterbu. So he's through yesterday, he caught some screen passes, showed some good hands, and today as well, he showed some good hands as well, especially in 1v1. So all right, those are the clips that I kind of had bookmarked. I'm sorry that was maybe a little clunky, especially for if you're listening on the podcast apps. It was a little clunky, but hopefully it was good. Let's open it up to some questions. I didn't talk about this. My guy Jeff and I, we were talking about at the start. I'm all the way back. The Giants are winning the Super Bowl. Eric Brown, first comment. Love that. I hate how, like, I was walking back to the car today, and I was like, damn, don't get too excited about Russ and throwing the ball, and like don't get too excited because it's just practice and we know what Russell Wilson is and everything like that. But it's always cool to see. I don't care who it is. What else? Yeah, show it. Pop it up. Yeah, put it on screen. Tyrone Tracy. It's tough to evaluate running backs in training camp because if they're not getting a ton of receiving work, and really, like, I'll tell you right now, Tracy there was this one play today where Tracy got a catch on, I don't know if it was a swing pass or a screen, because typically a screen is the ball is snapped and then you're taking a couple steps and then boom, you're turning around. So this play, they've been experimenting with a lot of rollouts and play fakes through the first 2 days schematically. And what this play is Russell Wilson takes a couple steps to his left and kind of acts like he's about to roll out to the left. Tyrone Tracy swings out to the right. So then Russ takes a couple steps to the left, and then he brings his eyes back to Tyrone Tracy, who's out there for the swing pass. So Tracy's been getting some work as a receiver, just like a lot of these other guys, just with, you typically operate with check downs, especially a lot of times in the red zone, right outside of the big flashy stuff. But it's tough they haven't really run the ball a lot. They're not in full pads yet. So I haven't really looked at O-line, D-line, and run game and stuff like that since they're just in shells at this point. At least yesterday, maybe they were in tops. Today, they weren't even in tops. They just had helmets on. They just had, they weren't even in shells today. So that's Tyrone Tracy. We'll keep an eye out for him when the pads come on and maybe they start to run the ball a little bit too. So what else, Jeff? Anything else? You want to pop something? Else on the screen?
One thing I saw, that was a comment about, and maybe you can show your excitement too, is Cam Scatterbu lowering his shoulder into the Jets defense during joint practice.
Oh yeah, Cam. Jeff was talking about Cam Scatterbu and lowering his shoulder into the Jets defense during joint practice. I talked about Cam and the receiving ability because, like I just said with running backs, that's really the only way that you can fully tell what's going on with them right now. But he's going to bring a physicality. I hope that he's NFL tough, and not just. I know he's NFL tough. I hope he's NFL strong. That's going to be the biggest X factor for Cam Scatterbu this year. But flashing that receiving ability for that big of a back, and typically the power backs don't have that receiving ability, but he does. So if he gets in there and is good as a pass, and if he's good as a pass blocker, then he's going to get more playing time sooner rather than later. He has not really gotten first team reps. It's been Tracy and Singletary that have gotten the first team reps, but we're in the first week of camp. I think that's normal for these rookies for sure. So, anything else? About 30 minutes. Okay. No, I mean, is there anything else that anybody asked that I want to talk about? Yeah. So tomorrow's practice, it's going to be Friday, practice number 3. I think they're going to go hard. Today's practice was 1 hour and 40 minutes. Yesterday's practice was 1 hour 30. I think they may go a little bit closer to 2 hours tomorrow since they have an off day on Saturday. They'll be in full pads on Sunday. Hope that rain holds off. So, hopefully y'all can get more clips and get another recap from us on Sunday. We're talking about Saquon in the chat. Sure. Okay.
How about this? I like this. We got a couple comments about Carter.
Well, Carter? What about Carter?
Crazy. I was asking about how does Carter look in person? Does he look bigger in person?
He's fast.
Is he developing some pass rush moves out there that you noticed?
We got to get you on microphone. So yeah, Jeff asked me, how does Carter look out there? Is he bigger? Is he developing any, does he have pass rush moves? I mean, he's crazy athletic. I mean, just the get off that he has. You saw the first day he did that backflip. So we already know the athleticism is there. The way that he gets off the ball is different. You saw a couple times he utilized a swim move, and then the main thing, if you go back to when we showed that JMS clip, the main thing that I like with JMS is he flashed the quick hands with that swim, but then when the swim didn't fully work, and as he's swimming, you don't want to take too wide of an arc getting to the quarterback. The whole goal is to get to the quarterback, right? So he kind of stops on a dime, and then when he redirects his pass rush move, that's where JMS kind of gets on skates. So the stop-start ability, lateral ability, I mean, that's going to be how he's going to really win. And I think especially for the non-athletic interior offensive lineman, because the tackles, their stop-start and their feet are just inevitably better than the interior guys. So that's why it's so fun, the idea and the thinking of him putting him on the inside, that he's going to just kill those guys with his athleticism. And you saw it with Micah Parsons when Parsons did it against Mark Lewinsky. Week 1, 2023. Micah Parsons versus Andrew Thomas is going to be so damn fun. Oh, nope. He's going up against Mark Lewinsky, and that's not very fun because Mark Lewinsky is not very good. Any NASCAR packages, Perry Mack asked. Not yet. Not yet. When you watch the O-line, D-line, when full pads come on, it'll be easier to see who's in, who's out when it comes to them. Right now, I'm trying to look at a lot of receivers, a lot of DB stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that. I mean, I would love to see, is everything so good? Yeah. I would love to see Chauncey Golston, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns all on the field at one time. And that's a NASCAR package. So I do.
This is we put it up for you?
Put it up.
Because no one can hear me.
What does it say? Because my internet died out.
This is what the Giants been missing for 7 years. A QB that pushes the ball down the field.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, explosive plays, pushing the ball down the field. Obviously, what they've been missing. And I just like that even inside the red zone, where you're not going to get the 30-yard huge plays inside the red zone, but the fact that Russell Wilson, as of right now, is simply just throwing the ball in the end zone is, like I said at the start, is pretty freaking awesome. So, all right, we'll keep it there. There's more stuff that I think are on my brain, like Bo Collins, a couple of the roster notes. Bo Collins got one wide receiver, one play. It wound up being a run play. Jalen Hyatt got one wide receiver, one play with the first team. That wound up being a run play. And I think everything else, like in my notes, I touched on in all the major plays. So wrap it up. I'll see you tomorrow on Friday. Give you a Friday afternoon stream. Sorry if you're on the podcast app. This is a lot better of an experience on YouTube if you simply just see what we're talking about and see what we're doing. Now that I'm trying to show the clips and share the clips. Hopefully it was fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a like on the stream, please. Subscribe And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Peace. Let's go, Giants.